$9,500 a month. That's what a shared room in an American nursing home costs right now. Not a private suite, not some luxury facility. A shared room. 2 people, 1 bathroom, fluorescent lighting. And the average Social Security check? $2,000. Do that math for a second. Really do it. That check, the one you spent 40 years earning, covers 21% of the bill, which means every single month, someone in your family is scrambling to find the other 79%. Or you're burning through a lifetime of savings at a speed that would make your younger self sick. Here's what people try. Move somewhere cheaper. Mississippi, Oklahoma, Alabama. Surely the numbers work better there, right? Mississippi is still $4,000 a month. The problem isn't your zip code. It's the system you're trapped inside. So I found 8 countries where full elder care runs $500 a month, sometimes less, on a $2,000 Social Security check. Let's go. Number 8, Mexico. The trap. Here's the thing about Mexico. It's everyone's first instinct. And honestly, that makes sense. It's close, you've probably been there, maybe you have friends who retired there. The food's incredible, the weather's warm, and you figure, look, it's right next door. If something goes wrong, I can be back in the States in a few hours. I get it, I really do. But Mexico is the most expensive country on this entire list, and I put it last for a reason. I want you to understand something before we get to the good news. Full elder care in Mexico runs between $1,650 and $2,450 a month. That's not a typo. For context, that's already more than most of the other countries we're about to discuss, countries with comparable or better care quality. And that's before we even get to the visa situation. Because here's the part nobody's talking about. Mexico quietly overhauled its residency income requirements. And right now, to live there legally as a retiree, you need to prove roughly $4,000 a month in income. $4,000. Your $2,000 Social Security check doesn't even get you through the door, legally. So the backup plan that millions of Americans have been quietly holding on to, this idea of, if things get bad, I'll just go to Mexico, that plan has a very serious hole in it now. I'm not saying Mexico is a bad country. It's a beautiful country. But as an elder care strategy on Social Security, the math just doesn't work. And I'd rather tell you that now than have you find out when it matters most. Now, here's where the story gets a lot more interesting, because the next 7 countries, they tell a completely different story. Number 7, Colombia. When people hear Colombia, they still, in 2024 and beyond, think of old news, decades-old headlines. A country that hasn't existed in that form for a generation. The Colombia that exists right now has world-class hospitals in Medellin, a booming expat community in Bogota, an elder care industry that has genuinely exploded over the last 10 years, specifically because American and European retirees started showing up and demanding quality. And Colombia delivered. Full residential elder care in Colombia runs between $800 and $1,500 a month. Staff trained to US standards, modern facilities, some of them genuinely stunning. Courtyards, gardens, activity programs, the kind of thing you'd see in an American brochure, but actually get here. On a $2,000 Social Security check, after care costs, you're looking at $500 to $1,200 left over. Every month. That's spending money. That's comfort. That's not scraping. Colombia actively wants retirees. The income threshold is low enough that Social Security qualifies. Here's the honest catch though, and I'm going to give you the real picture on every single country, not just the highlight reel. Most care facility staff in Colombia speak Spanish only, which means if you're the family member back in the States trying to coordinate with the facility, trying to understand a medical update, trying to ask whether mom is eating, that communication gets complicated, fast. You're going to need a point of contact who speaks Spanish, or a paid translator service, or a local advocate. That's a real friction point. It's manageable, but it's real. Still, the math works, And in this conversation, the math working is a very big deal. Speaking of math working cleanly, number 6, Panama. Panama does something that almost no other country on this list does, and I want you to really hear this because it matters more than people realize. Panama runs on US dollars, not a currency pegged to the dollar, not a currency that roughly tracks the dollar, actual US dollars, the same bills in your wallet. Which means when your Social Security check hits your account, it doesn't go through any conversion. There's no exchange rate eating into it. There's no watching the news hoping the currency holds. Your $2,000 is $2,000, the day it arrives and 5 years from now. That stability is genuinely rare, and when you're planning care for someone you love or planning your own future, stability is not a small thing. Full residential elder care in Panama runs $600 to $1,200 a month. That math leaves you $800 to $1,400 over every single month on a standard Social Security check. But here's the piece that really catches people off guard. Panama's Pensionado visa comes with a 20% discount on medical bills. Not just care facility costs, medical bills broadly. Hospital visits, procedures, prescriptions, 20% off, built into your legal residency status. It's one of the most retiree-friendly visa programs in the entire world, and Panama has been quietly perfecting it for decades. The one honest weakness, and again, I'm giving you the real picture. Outside of Panama City, facility quality drops off significantly. The infrastructure, the staffing levels, the medical oversight, it's concentrated in the capital. If you're imagining a quiet rural setting, Panama probably isn't your answer. But if a modern city environment works, Panama might be one of the sharpest options on this entire list. Now, what if you want the dollar stability and the cool climate? There's another country that gives you exactly that. Number 5, Ecuador. Ecuador is the second US dollar country on this list, and the fact that most people have never seriously considered it as a retirement or care destination is, honestly, one of the great overlooked stories in this space. Full elder care in Ecuador runs $600 to $1,000 a month. On a $2,000 check, you're looking at $1,000 to $1,400 left over every month. That's not tight. That's genuinely comfortable by the standards of most people's actual lives. But here's the detail that makes Ecuador unusual in a really specific way. Quito, Ecuador's capital, sits at 9,000 feet above sea level. And I know what you're thinking. Altitude, that sounds like a problem. But for a lot of people, especially people worried about heat-related health risks, it's actually the opposite of a problem. The temperature in Quito averages somewhere between 55 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Cool mornings, mild afternoons. No brutal summers, no dangerous heat indexes. For someone managing cardiovascular issues or respiratory conditions that are worsened by heat, that climate profile is genuinely significant. The Jubilado visa, Ecuador's retiree visa, only requires $800 a month in provable income. Your Social Security check more than qualifies. Now, here's the friction point, and it's the same one we saw in Colombia. English is not widely spoken in care facilities. Most staff communicate in Spanish only. Family coordination, medical updates, navigating a health situation from overseas, all of that requires either a Spanish-speaking advocate on the ground or a reliable translation service. That's the trade-off. But the dollar stability, the climate, the cost, the accessible visa, Ecuador deserves to be in this conversation a lot more than it is. And now we cross an ocean, because the next 3 countries are in Southeast Asia, and the numbers get even more interesting. Country number 4, Thailand. Let me paint you a picture. You're in Bangkok. You walk into a senior care facility. Modern building, clean corridors, staff in professional uniforms. The nurse at the front desk speaks English. She explains the care plan in clear language. The monitoring equipment is current. The physical therapy room looks like something you'd see at a major American hospital. And the monthly bill? Full residential care, meals, medical monitoring, 24-hour staff is somewhere between $550 and $1,300 a month. You'd think you were being pranked. You're not. Thailand has quietly built one of the most sophisticated elder care industries in Southeast Asia. And the reason comes down to something the country has been investing in for decades: medical tourism. Thailand figured out a long time ago that if you make your healthcare good enough and affordable enough, people will come from everywhere. They built that infrastructure, and elder care rode the same wave. Bangkok's Bumrungrad network, if you've ever looked into medical tourism, is world famous. Hospital-grade monitoring, internationally trained medical staff, and some of those facilities have extended into senior living and elder care in a way that frankly embarrasses American options at 3 times the price. This is not a compromise. This is not settling. This is choosing better. Now, the visa. Thailand's retirement visa has 2 qualifying paths. You can either deposit 800,000 Thai baht into a Thai bank account, that's roughly 23,000 US dollars, and park it there, or you can show a monthly income of 65,000 baht, which shakes out to about $1,850 a month. On a $2,000 Social Security check, that income path gets you very close. Depending on how Social Security is calculated and documented, some people cross that threshold. Some don't quite make it. It's worth getting specific advice on your individual situation rather than assuming either way. On a $2,000 check, after care costs, you're looking at $700 to $1,450 left over monthly. The numbers work, the care quality is real. The language barrier is minimal compared to Latin America options. Thailand belongs in the serious conversation. But the next 2 countries, they address something even more specific. Number 3, the Philippines. Here's a fact that reframes everything you think you know about elder care in Southeast Asia. The Philippines trains nurses for the United States. Think about that for a moment. Every year, Filipino nurses go through rigorous training, pass US licensing exams, and move to American hospitals and care facilities, where they become some of the most respected and sought-after healthcare workers in the country. You've probably been cared for by Filipino nurses. Millions of Americans have. Now, the ones who couldn't get US visas, or who chose to stay, or who came back, they built an elder care industry at home that operates by the same standards they trained for. Except the cost structure is completely different. Full residential elder care in the Philippines runs $800 to $1,200 a month. And the thing that makes this specific combination of cost and quality almost absurd is this: English is an official language of the Philippines, not a widely spoken second language, an official language. Your family member's primary care nurse will speak English. The facility coordinator will speak English. The medical reports come in English. That communication wall that exists in Colombia and Ecuador and even parts of Thailand, in the Philippines, it largely doesn't exist. For families coordinating from overseas, from the States, from Canada, from the UK, that changes the emotional reality of the situation completely. It means you can actually know what's happening. You can have real conversations. You can feel present in a situation that already feels impossibly far away. The SRRV, the Special Resident Retiree Visa, is one of the straightforward retirement visas in Asia. English language process, clear requirements. The Philippines actively encourages foreign retirees. The honest risks? Typhoon season is real. The Philippines sits in one of the most active typhoon zones in the world, and if you're placing someone in care there, you need to understand what that means for facility preparedness and emergency protocols. And quality drops hard outside Metro Manila and Cebu. Stick to the major cities and the care infrastructure holds up. Go rural and it's a different story. But $800 to $1,200 a month, English-speaking staff, US standard training, a straightforward visa, On a $2,000 Social Security check, you have $800 to $1,200 left over every month. That is a fundamentally different life than what the American system is offering. Now, the most overlooked country on this entire list. Number 2, Malaysia. I want to ask you something. Before today, before this video, had you ever seriously thought about Malaysia as an elder care destination? Probably not. And that's exactly why it's number 2 on this list. Malaysia is doing something almost no other country in the world manages to pull off simultaneously. It has a high quality of life. English is a functioning official working language, not just spoken in tourist areas, but used in business, in medicine, in professional settings as a matter of course. It has a warm but not brutal climate. It has modern infrastructure, and it has elder care facilities, particularly in Penang and the Cameron Highlands, that run between $400 and $900 a month for full residential care. $400 to $900. On a $2,000 Social Security check, after care costs, you're looking at $1,100 to $1,600 left over every single month. That is the best care math you will find in any English comfortable country in the world. Period. The Cameron Highlands specifically, a hill resort region about 3 hours from Kuala Lumpur, has a climate that almost defies what you expect from Southeast Asia. Because of the elevation, temperatures stay in the low 70s year-round. British colonial-era infrastructure, lush green landscape, care facilities that have been serving both local and expat populations for decades. It's the kind of place where people who've never heard of it see pictures for the first time and immediately go quiet for a moment. Now, here's the wall, and I'm not going to soften it because it's a real wall. Malaysia completely overhauled its long stay program in 2024. The program that used to make Malaysia accessible to retirees of moderate means has been restructured significantly. The current entry point requires a fixed deposit of $150,000 in a Malaysian bank account, plus a mandatory property purchase requirement. If you have savings, if this isn't just Social Security, if there's a 401k or an IRA or equity from a home sale, Malaysia might be one of the best options in the world. The care cost math is extraordinary. The English environment is rare. The quality of life is genuinely high. But if you're running on Social Security alone with limited savings, the visa is the wall. And I'd rather you know that clearly than find out after you've fallen in love with the idea. That brings us to the number that genuinely stops people mid-sentence. Number 1, Vietnam. $400 a month. I'll say it again, because the first time people hear it, something in their brain just doesn't accept it. $400 a month. Full residential elder care. Staff on site 24 hours a day. 3 meals a day. Medical monitoring, physical therapy, a real care facility, not a family's spare room, not some informal arrangement, a genuine, staffed, operating care facility. Vietnam. And I know exactly what just went through your head, because I've talked to enough people about this that I can practically script the reaction. Vietnam? Is it safe? Is it clean? Is it actually, real care? Or is this just a number attached to something I'd never actually put someone I love into? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the complete picture, every honest detail. Because the goal here isn't to get you excited about a number, it's to give you something you can actually use. Vietnam's elder care industry has grown enormously over the last 15 years, driven by a combination of a rapidly aging domestic population and the arrival of expat families who needed care solutions. The facilities that have emerged, particularly in Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang, are not the bargain basement operations you might be imagining. Many of them are purpose-built, modern layouts, medical-grade monitoring, nutrition programs designed with professional input. In Vietnamese facilities, often exceeds what you'd see in a mid-range American nursing home. Not because it's legally required, but because labor costs are low enough that it's economically viable to have more people, which means more attention, more hands, more responsiveness. Now, the honest challenges, and they are real, so don't let the number make you gloss over them. Most facility staff speak very little English. Unlike the Philippines, English is not an official language. Unlike Malaysia, it's not embedded in the professional culture in the same way. If you are a family member in Ohio trying to understand a medical update from a facility in Da Nang, you're going to need a Vietnamese-speaking point of contact on the ground. A local advocate, a trusted friend, a professional liaison service, something. That communication layer is not optional. It's part of the cost of this option, even if it doesn't show up in the monthly bill. The visa situation is the other piece that requires eyes-open honesty. Vietnam does not currently offer a permanent residency path for retirees. The visa renews annually, which means, unlike, say, Panama's pensionado structure, which gives you something that functions like permanent legal footing, in Vietnam, you're making this decision every year. You're checking every 12 months that the rules haven't shifted in a way that affects you. That's a real consideration, especially for someone in elder care where moving is not an easy or neutral event. Disruption for someone in a care situation is not just inconvenient, it can be genuinely harmful. So the annual renewal is a risk you have to weigh seriously. Here's the number that makes people do the math twice anyway. On a $2,000 Social Security check, after covering full residential elder care, you have $1,400 left over every single month. $1,400. In a country where that amount of money represents genuine, meaningful financial comfort. Not scraping, not surviving, actually living. In America, that same $2,000 check covers 21% of the nursing home bill, and then someone has to find the rest. I'll let that sit for a second. What this all actually means. 7 of these 8 countries let you cover full elder care and still have money left over from a $2,000 Social Security check. Panama, Ecuador, Colombia, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam. 7 countries where the math actually works. But here's what most people miss. It's not just the cost, it's the timing. Vietnam's visa renews every year. Malaysia just restructured and raised the bar. Thailand's threshold moves. The math works today. Whether it works in 3 years depends entirely on one thing: when you decide to move. The windows are open right now. They won't always be. If you've made it this far, you're not casually watching. You're doing real math. And here's what matters before any international move gets made. The size of your Social Security check is not fixed. Filing at the wrong age could cost you hundreds of dollars every single month forever. I broke down exactly when to file and why 62 might be the right answer for people planning to leave America. The windows are open right now. The only question is whether you act before they close or after.